Good morning, people of YouTube. So we're back again today with a highly anticipated video. Today we have the updated version of my LeopardForce deck. So I wanted to do a little bit more than that because it's taken me so long to get this video out. And part of that is the more I test this deck, the more I find cards that I like playing in it, and the less sure I am about the ratios, because I think there's truly a vast number of ways to play this deck right here. So we're going to get into a couple of them. I'm going to go over my updated list. I'm going to go over a list that I saw that I really like, and is a extremely different route you can take with the deck. And then we're going to go over one of my patrons' list over from my Patreon. Has made a LeopardForce deck of his own and has also had a really creative take on it. He's playing like Ray of Victory and a couple really cool cards like that. So we're going to take a look into that and see what he says about that. So shout outs to you, Confusing Zark, for once again providing us with a list to go over. And yeah, hope we'll go ahead and get right into it. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Let us know down below what you want to see from the channel in the future, because once I finish up this move that my wife and I are doing, things will free up a bit and I'll have more time on my hands. So let's go ahead and jump right into the deck profile. Alright, so going into the Digitama, I have 3 Demi-Veemon and 2 copies of Demi-Veemon. So I have 3 of the ones that says draw 1 whenever you have jamming, and 2 of the ones that say plus 1,000 whenever you unsuspend yourself. I think this ratio is interchangeable. Getting a power boost on your Ulforce that puts you at 12 before you buff yourself with the Tamer is very essential in some matchups, but not all of them. Oh, cat is on the mat. Go into the lap, cat. But yeah, and drawing cards is also really nice, but sometimes it feels like you don't really need to draw more after you've already established yourself, and that's what this card lets you do sometimes, but it also lets you get into your combo pieces, so while providing early game aggression, and it combos really well with the Leopardomon, so I do like these cards. This card is absolutely necessary, though. You have to play at least one of this in your egg lineup, is what I've learned. Like, especially against Red and Saris, sometimes that 1,000 power really comes in clutch. So, going ahead and get right into the rookies. We have 4 of this Veemon. This Veemon is absolutely broken, and I do not know why I didn't include 4 in my original list. So, updated ratio right there. We play 4 of that, and then I play 2 of the Draw Veemon. I don't like this card as much. Again, it helps you get into your combo pieces, and it's really nice. Like, it sets off with the Veedramon, it sets off with the Ulforce, it sets off with Arrow's effect, so you can kind of use Arrow with this card to cycle into more combo pieces. Even the X-Veemon, and it's really good, but I don't know how good it is. I've played 3, I've played 1, I've played 2, I like all of them. I definitely don't like 4, but it's a good card. I really do like it. It's in the list. It's mostly there as just another Veemon target that you get off Arena. So, we play those 6 Veemons. I have 2 Gomamon, the memory gainer one. This card is nice because I am still playing a lot of blockers. And there aren't really that many ways to help you gain memory in this deck, so this card being able to manipulate yourself is nice, and it does come up. But it's again, it's not the most important rookie. The most important rookies so far are the Veemon that has jamming, and then your 6 vanillas. Because getting extra bodies on the board to evolve into more champions is always really good, because it helps combo with the other line of this deck. And we'll go ahead and get into that and why I think that is so good with this in a little bit. But 6 rookies or 6 2-cost vanilla rookies is pretty standard in a lot of decks. I got 4 Gorilla and 4 Grizzly. I told you I was playing a lot of blockers. I think 3 Grizzly is fine. I don't think 4 is absolutely necessary. I do like 4 because you can evolve on top of these and then play them back out with Leopard. And I've always liked playing a high number of blockers in my Leopardmon list because you don't have to worry about evolving on top of it. You can still go up into your level 6 and keep this card. Plus, these are safe from Alter S, so I really do like these. And then for the other level 4s, I got 2 of the Secret Rare Veedramon. This card's still bonkers. It can get up to 7,000 on first swing with this, which makes it hit over most blockers. Like, if they have just a Cherrymon on their board, even in green, if you swing with this, activate Arena, and then with this, you're hitting 8,000, so you hit over the Cherry. So you can hit over level 5s, you can hit over level 4s, you can hit over level 3s. Like, against Rookie Rush, you know, they'll swing out anything that survives. They have to fear this. And it's so good. Plus, it will give you 1,000 extra power, so it's one of those ways to get your Ulforce bigger in your harder matchups, because something that this deck struggles with is the power sometimes. So that does come up, but this is mostly there for extra swings. You can give this jamming off of the Leopardmon too and just go balls to the wall with it, and it's just absolutely insane. I will probably keep playing this in most of my blue decks just as long as we stay in a Rookie Rush format, just because of the sheer aggression it provides against that deck. But it's really good against every other matchup too. So I also have 1 XVmon and 1 Veedramon. So I tested this card. I said in my first video I would test this card, get back to you, let you know how I like it. It's still here. I haven't really bumped it up or down. It's still here. It's a good card. It's just not... It doesn't come up that often, but it does come up, so I do like it. And the same with XVmon in this deck. This is a really good out to things like Puppet. I could see cutting this Veedramon for another one of these, but it's really important having a lot of targets for tie later on, so this is still nice. I do like the level 4 lineup, and the level 4 lineup basically changes every time I play this deck, but right now that's kind of what I'm set on, is just these 12. Again, another reason this video took so long to make is the level 5 lineup as well. So I still have 4 Arrow. You absolutely need this card. Something I didn't consider when I made the initial list is the defensive use of this. Like, you can use this and draw extra cards with the Vmon down here. And you can just unsuspend... You can evolve into this to end your turn and make something that your opponent would normally swing over just unsuspend. So it's great offensively and defensively. It basically functions as another XVmon. That's why you really only need 1 of these. But I actually got into a position against my wife where I had the Vmon, and she had a bunch of green dudes in play. And I swung with the Vmon, evolved another dude I had in play into XVmon, unsuspended the Vmon, swung with Vmon, evolved this XVmon and Arrow, swung with Vmon, and it was kind of hilarious. But Arrow helps facilitate a lot of plays, and giving Ulforce jamming is essential, because there are a lot of matchups that you won't survive in, like Mega Zoo, Ragnalord, Red, and the jamming comes up a lot. So this is the main inheritable you want to put on your Ulforce. This is a good secondary inheritable, though, this Weregarurumon. So one of the advantages of this deck as to other Ulforce lists is I'm only playing 6 Tamers, and a lot of Ulforce lists are playing like 7 to 10. So I get more room for just more consistent cards, and I'm not as reliant on Ulforce to close out my games. This card makes Ulforce be able to close out game in like 2 to 3 attacks. So, and I showed you a bunch of the 2-drop rookies and a bunch of the other cards that you want to be swinging with, like Veedramon. So the entire point of this deck is to get a good Ulforce off and to swing 2 or 3 times. And even if you're playing against like the new McDonald's control deck and you hit a Gaia Force on like your second swing and your Ulforce goes down, you don't lose the game right there because you have so many other cards in this deck that are good. And this makes sure that when Ulforce is swinging, you know, you're getting value off of those swings. And you can, if Ulforce goes down preemptively, you know, you can use your tamers for other things. But these are your main inheritables that you want to get on the Ulforce, and I really like the both of them. So the level 5s that I'm absolutely not sure on are the last two. So there are 6 there. I have 1 Monze and 1 Bastamon. I think playing some number of 2 cost to evolve into level 5s is important in this deck. Just to get to Ulforce faster. But I don't know which one I like more. I've tested them both. I like them both. Bastamon gives you early aggression because you can pump it up with the tamers. And even mid game, like if you lose an Ulforce stack and you're building back up and your opponent puts a level 5 on board and swings with it, you can power this up with like Rena and stuff and just swing over it. And it's nice. Alternatively, if you're stuck, Monzemon gives you easy out into Ulforce or Leopard. And a good thing about Leopard as opposed to Metal Garurumon is it says it pulls a card out from any Digivolution stack as opposed to just the stack it's on. So if you play this as a level 5 and evolve this into a Leopardmon, then you can play a card out from, you know, a different stack that you have in play. So like, let's say you did have a level 4 in your raising area and evolving this and wasn't the play, or you get the level 4 out later, you know. I do like these. They both come up. I just don't know. It's a 1-in-1 split right now because I'm only playing 8 level 5s, and I just don't. I'm just not sold on either one of them. I am sold on the Weregarurumon, though. This card is nuts in this deck. So on to the level 6s. We have Ulforce himself. In my original list, I only put 3 of this card in, and I put 3 Leopardmon in. Now, the reason for that is because it was before the product came out. I didn't know how much I was going to be able to get, and I didn't know how many Ulforces I was going to pull. So I did pull my 4. I am playing the full 4. This is the main win condition of the deck. However, this is the perfect complement to UlforceVeedramon. Let me explain. Ulforce is one of those decks that goes tall and invests everything into one stack. And if that stack goes down, you lose. If that stack goes off, you win. And that's great. Leopardmon is the exact opposite of that. Whenever you evolve into this, it splits your stack and you start going wide. So, if you are in a position where you can evolve a level 5, and it's not going to stay your turn, let's say it's going to pass to your opponent, you know, you can evolve into Ulforce, risk it being destroyed, and never get to swing with this card. Or you can evolve into Leopard, end your turn on this, and get immediate value because you're playing another card off of it whenever you evolve into it. Something to consider as well is that it does give all of your little dudes jamming. So again, we are playing this big Veedramon. Swinging twice into their face with jamming is what makes Imperial so good. So if you can do that on a level 4, why wouldn't this be just as good, you know? So it's an amazing complement to this deck. This is the perfect supplement to most blue decks right now. And I absolutely love it. I'm actually going to make a list focusing on just Leopardmon very, very soon. And I've been testing it. I just haven't profiled it yet because I'm still making some edits. But that's going to be my main tournament deck. But this is a lot of fun. Ulforce is just super strong. You can wipe out entire stacks, especially since you have Weregarurumon. Especially since you can give yourself jamming. And yeah, it's absolutely nuts. I do like Ulforce, and I feel like playing this card with it helps mitigate a lot of the disadvantages that this deck has. Like, a lot of the disadvantages that you have from Ulforce basically generate from if Ulforce dies, I lose. And Leopard makes that not happen anymore. So, on to the rest of the blue cards. We got some Hammer Sparks, because it's blue deck. We got some Rena, and we got 2 copies of the V-Tamer tie. So I bumped this up because it gives me another burst option. A lot of times whenever you're swinging with Ulforce, you're like drawing cards because of inheritable effects or gaining memory and stuff, and so you'll have more chances to play cards. So giving yourself another tamer that you can just slap down and tap and get an extra attack is nice. Plus it helps you cycle into your bigger cards, and you can combo it with the Veedramon to make sure you hit over blockers. But I do think Rena is more important, and you have to play Rena at 4, specifically because it will give Ulforce jamming on the first swing. So you can... This activates whenever you attack. This is activated just during your main phase. You can't do it when you attack. You can't respond with this. Like, this is spell speed 1, and this is spell speed 2 in Yu-Gi-Oh terms. So when you swing with this and you have Ulforce under it, you swing, tap this, unsuspend, and then you gain the jamming and you gain all of your inheritables immediately. So you can use that to swing over with Demi-Vmon, and this Rena, you can swing over Imperial Dramon, Blitzgreymon, things like that on the first swing, and that's absolutely nice. You don't have to worry about Craniumon as much, and things of that nature. But tie is essential for drawing you more cards. Now, I was only playing 1 initially, and I was only playing 5 Tamers, and I did like that, but I did want another burst option again, like I said, because there were times where I didn't have enough Tamers to close games out. I think 6 is a good number. Like, again, a lot of Ulforce lists play 7 to 9, sometimes even 10, and I don't really like that. That's not my style. This is a more aggressive build of the deck, less focused on setup and more focused on just going in. And I do really like this list. I think I could see myself entering a big tournament with this and at least top 32ing, but I need time to enter a big tournament soon. So other cards that you could include in the deck, Omnimon, of course. I don't want to put it in because I feel like you give up your win condition by evolving into it. But if you want removal, you could play Casitas Breath. This is a good card, but the thing about removal in this deck, in like this deck specifically, is it doesn't really matter because you're just going around your opponent's cards rather than through them. So I don't think Casitas Breath is necessary, which is why you don't see it in the list. Shikuamon is level 5 that you could play instead of like some of the Bastamons and stuff, or Bastamon or Monze. I do like this. If your locals is like super heavy on like green or Rookie Rush, maybe this is a good inclusion. I'm not playing it in my list, but you could definitely put it in yours. And then this Matt Ishida. I think this card is garbage, but it is a necessary evil in a deck like this. There are a lot of times where you will lose because you have like game in hand, but aren't set to 3 at the beginning of your turn, and don't have ways outside of the Hammer Sparks and the Gomamon to gain memory. So I was thinking about playing like Leomon or something, but the level 4 space is tight, and you don't really want to give up bodies just to gain memory. I mean, you can if you have to. So a card like this is nice, and you can combo it with the 2-drops to give yourself an Ulforce, or your Ulforce, like a 2 memory unsuspend, which is really good. I just can't stomach playing this card. I just don't like it that much. I think it could very easily find its way into this list, but even still, I wouldn't want to put it in only as a one-of. I don't think memory setter tamers are that useful as just a one-of. If you're going to play them, you should be playing 2 so that you at least see it. But that's my list of LeopardForce. So one of the things that I wanted to go over was I did see another list on another YouTuber's channel. The channel's name is DonkeyKnogg, Knogg, and it was a Ulforce list with memory manipulation. He wasn't playing the he wasn't playing the Leopards, but he was playing a bunch of, like, Digivolution source removal, and he was gaining advantage off of that. And the big facilitator of that deck was Joe. So what Joe says is, once per turn, whenever one of your opponents it is not once per turn. It's just whenever one of your opponent's Digivolution sources is trash, you may suspend this tamer and gain a memory. So you could use this with, like, the Gabumon and just swing with Ulforce, trash a source off of this, tap Joe, unsuspend Ulforce, and then you gain 1 memory off Joe and 1 memory off of Ulforce, which lets you have 2 memory to play a tie and swing again and then tap the tie and then swing again, and it was kind of neat. So Joe is the only other blue tamer aside from these two right now that I'm not playing that can suspend themselves, and I think Joe actually finds a place in this deck. Like, outside of a deck like this card is kind of trash. But in a Digivolution Ulforce deck, like, that's kind of good. Especially since a lot of these cards are just win attacking and they're not once per turn. Like, I think he was playing Magna Angemon. I know for a fact he was playing this Angemon because it's like a 4 cost. Like, you can hard play it for 4 if you need to. Because he was playing a super low rookie count to make room for all of these tech cards. Play cards like Ikakumon. It's one of the only ones that trashes from the top of the stack as opposed to the bottom. So that's super nice. And then the Zudomon from the starter deck, which lets you trash 2 whenever you evolve into it. So you have a bunch of options as far as trashing Digivolution sources. And it's super cool. Like, it makes the Joes very live, and then you have this Gomamon. He was playing 4 of that, so that every time he trashed a Digivolution source, he would gain a memory off of the Joe, and then he would gain a memory off the Gomamon. And you could put this under a blocker, so that it would sit there, and then you could keep it forever and block rookies with it, and gain multiple memory off of it. And it was a really, really cool strategy. So I definitely want to shout out DonkeyKnogg for that, and I'm going to link his video on the channel. That looks like it took a lot of testing to build, so I'm just going to feature a couple of the cards that he showed and then link his video, because I'm not going to go through the testing to build a version of that for myself. But I have this list, I have his list, and I have Zark's list that I'm going to show you here in a second. But another couple cards that you could play in a list like this, or you could play in my list even, is the Zudomon that lets you draw 2. So if you're, like, bricking or you need a card to just, like, play, you can just play this and then evolve it into an Ulforce later, and it will give you more cards, more options, and you can get more memory off of this as well. And gaining memory is a thing that my deck does kind of struggle with. DonkeyKnogg's deck does not, obviously, but yeah, like, this is a card that you could also play. Now we have Death Parade Blaster, which is not Desperado Blaster in the English for some reason. Who knows? But you can trash up to 2 Digivolution sources from the bottom of everything. And then if you have a green Digimon in play, you can suspend something. This just combos really nicely with all of the your inheritables down here. And it can give Ulforce more options to unsuspend off of Joe's. But you'll be gaining so much memory in this deck that playing a card like this is nice. And again, with this, you can shut them out with the Shikuamon from earlier. Like, he was playing Shikuamon and Magna Angemon and UlforceVeedramon. I think he was playing 3, 2, and 4 Arrow, but I could be mistaken. I'll have his video linked below. But yeah, this is just something else I wanted to feature, because I think this Joe and this Gomamon and, like, any combination of these cards else that I have featured is a very, very interesting way to take this deck. And I think that it is a route that is definitely worth trying. So, yeah. we're going to go ahead and pop into Zark's video for a second and take it from there. Alright, so we're back to take a look at the deck list that I was sent in on the TCG Tamer Patreon, sent in by Confusing Zark. So here's the list. He sent this with it. So the deck has two core strategies. First strategy is to use Leopardomon to give jamming to all of his champions and rookies and pummel the opponent. And the second strategy is to use the unsuspension abilities from the V cards to apply pressure to the opponent. He tried to focus on giving draw power or consistency for helping unsuspend. So Casitas Breath and Ray of Victory are helpful in handling threats. He says Pyildramon is a cool tech which lets him have jamming, swinging at higher levels while building up to Leopardmon. He wants to put in a second, but only owns one copy right now. And this list was sent to me like a little bit after set 1.5 came out. And product availability at the very beginning was still a little scarce, so definitely understand that. And then Zudomon helps him get out of bricking. He wants to drop down to 2 copies when he gets another Pyildramon. Okay, so easy cut there. I can definitely understand that. One of them is consistency, one of them is power. Are there any changes that I can make that I haven't thought of to help me give more synergy for my 2 strategies? Okay, so that's what he wants help with whenever he sent this list. He says that his group knows his deck really well and they make it a point not to let me build my Leopardmon. Which makes sense. That's how you beat a deck like this. Whenever they're building up into a big level 6, you either prevent them from getting into it or remove it the second that it hits the board. So Purple Spot Removal and Kentaurismon are his weakest matchups. He said he's hesitant to remove a mat for Arena because that was one of the first suggestions I made to him whenever he initially sent me this. Just because there aren't really any Arenas in the list, and I thought that there needed to be. But he said that the mat plus the Hammer Spark lets him go into Leopard. Basically, he's more focusing on the Leopardmon aspect than he is the Ulforce, and the Ulforce is a secondary mega for him, rather than the Leopardmon being a secondary mega for the Ulforce. So, yada yada yada. He said they're testing. He doesn't know how it works against Rookie Rush. So he could replace Zudo for Shakuamon. And I always think that's a good idea, but I think that's something you need testing on. If this list loses to Rookie Rush, then maybe you want to consider adding the Shakuamon. But if you don't already lose to Rookie Rush, you don't need to tech in extra cards to make sure that you beat it. But yeah, going ahead and going right into it. There's a 5 Digitama in the deck. He's got 4 Demi Vmon and 1 Demi Vmon. The Demi Vmon that he's playing 4 of is the BT3 one, which is the jamming one, which lets him draw more cards, which I totally agree with. It synergizes with the Leopardmon, synergizes with your big Vmon plays. And he's playing 4 of each Vmon, which... Did I get the rookie count right? 4, 4, 4, 4. No, he's playing 16 rookies. How did I mess that up? Oh, no, that's Veedramon. Never mind. I didn't mess that up. Okay. So then he's not playing the jamming Vmon. He's playing the one that whenever you unsuspend, you draw cards. So... Is that right? Let me double check. I don't know which Demi Vmon is which. Okay, so the BT2 Demi Vmon is the one that gives you more power, and the BT3 Demi Vmon is the draw one with jamming. So he's playing 1 of this one, and 4 of this one. So I do think there should be some amount of the Vmon that have jamming in this list. Let's see, the BT2 Vmon. Let's just double check, make sure I'm right in that. Yeah, the BT2 Vmon is the Vmon that lets you draw more cards whenever you unsuspend. So I do think the BT3 Vmon should be here in some capacity. One thing I would like to note with this list, and something that might be adding to a little bit of the inconsistencies, is you are only playing a couple of tamers that you can control when they suspend to get the Ulforce to unsuspend, being the 2 copies of the V-Tamer Tai Chi in here. So I do think you don't need 3 of the mat. I think 2 is perfectly fine if you're going to keep playing it. I would drop a mat for... you could play Arena, but you could also just play another copy of the V-Tamer Tai. If you don't like Arena, you know, you're not playing that many V-Targets, or you're still playing quite a few V-Targets, so I think 1 would be perfectly okay. But yeah, I do agree with the point that setting yourself to 3 memory is important in a deck like this. But one thing that I would highly consider is actually dropping a copy of Ulforce. So if Leopardmon is your primary win condition in this, and it looks like it is, I would want to bump the rookie count and the champion count up. I would want to be playing at least 14 rookies and at least 12 champions in any Leopardmon build, just because Leopardmon is specifically focused on the bottom end. And if that's the route you're taking, then I would try to cut 1 Ulforce since you're not leaning into it. You don't really have many ways to get it to attack multiple times, but you do have a few, so I think it is worth playing. It is a great supplementary mega in this, but I think the Leopardmon will take you a little bit further. Also, the 7 option count seems a little high. Maybe drop Casitas Breath or Array of Victory. I think 3 is a good number for those bouncing cards. I think whatever one really is putting in the most work for you, because I can see arguments for both. Ray of Victory gives you a free attack and bounces a body, but it's only a level 5 or less. But Casitas Breath costs more memory, but it gets rid of anything, so I definitely see it. And 3 Hammer Spark, it's an interesting choice, but I don't think it's wrong, especially... Like, a lot of blue decks, you'll see, like, especially in the past, they'll swear by 4, and you had to play 4 in the past, but now you need room for more cards and more tech options, and there are matchups that games go longer, so 1-ofs become more relevant, because the game's longer, so you're going to get to draw them. So... I think 3 Hammer Spark is perfectly okay. I like the 1 Pyildramon because it gives you a jammer that you can swing with before you get to Leopardmon. I think 4 of the Secret Rare Veedramon is a lot. I think 3 is the maximum number you should play in any deck just because it costs so much memory to evolve into. I don't think I would ever play 4 in anything, but I like where you're going with that. But, you know, these are just some things that you could do to improve the consistency. I would try to add more things, or I would definitely add more, like, 2-cost champions that you want to, or 2-cost to evolve into champions that you want to swing with, and definitely some more rookies. But yeah, I do like the list that you have here. Like, I think it's definitely a fun list, and I definitely think you can squeeze out some victories with it. So, that is going to be our coverage of Zark's list for his Leopardmon list, which is featuring Ulforce. I guess whenever I initially thought this, or saw this, I thought it was going to be, like, pure Ulforce, but I was mistaken. So, we ended up getting something a little bit more fun. So this is definitely a way that you can make Ulforce like a supplementary mega. It doesn't necessarily need to be your main win condition. You can build an Ulforce like with a single tie on board, and they won't expect it, and you can swing twice with it, and it's really good. And the arrow still gives you options to unsuspend all of your other dudes that were able to swing safely. You know, you can swing in with a gorilla safely because the jamming off of the leopard, get the hit, and then evolve it into an arrow and then have it unsuspend itself and swing again. So I definitely love this. This is a solid list. Yes, I do think there are a couple changes you could do to make it a little bit more consistent, and I think that mainly includes bumping up the rookie and champion count, maybe dropping an Ulforce, maybe dropping one of the options, and cleaning up the tamer lineup just a little bit. But yeah, that's been my coverage of UlforceVeedramon today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys want to see from the channel again, and if you guys want me to feature your list on the channel, go ahead and send them in. We love doing this kind of content, and it certainly helps feature other members in the community. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye.